Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler Sinton. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses. Our goal is to share our experience and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Before we get started, if you have any questions or things you'd like us to cover, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you'd like to join our business Discord where we talk about wins, business problems, or general questions, shoot us a message and we will get you in there. Tyler, what's going on Friday afternoon?
That it is. I right when we started recording, I'm like, man, I'm cold. I was thinking about grabbing my blanket over there, but yeah, not too much. Just got my bike tuned, got it back. We'll set that up, get a few more bikes in on the trainer, and yeah, what's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. It is, when people are listening to this, I believe it is Christmas Day. So
that it is. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to all the people out there. You're probably not listening to this on Christmas, but you really, I don't know what you're doing if you're listening to it on Christmas, but if you are,
you're dedicated, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, if you are, Merry Christmas, and we appreciate your top 3% fan, as Spotify would say.
Yeah, I like it.
Things are good over here. It's been a busy week. Didn't have any shoots this week, which is nice. Can kind of just get caught up on some cute computer stuff. A lot of editing, a lot of invoicing, some meetings, but yeah, things are good. Had a meeting today with the bigger job we talked about last week. I'm pretty sure they've solidified that it is going to be New York City, LA, and San Francisco. Those are the 3 locations on 2 separate weeks. I think I texted you before the episode and said, we were supposed to go New York City to North Carolina, but now they cut the North Carolina one out, and it's just New York City for a couple days. So I think I'm just going to stay there the rest of that week. We're done filming on like a Tuesday. So I think I'm just going to stay there the rest of that week, check out New York City. I've never been there before. So
Was there a reason they crossed off North Carolina?
Just logistic-wise, the person that has to be there for a lot of the filming had to be like in Orlando or something. So logistically, I just don't think we're going to be able to make it work, which is fine. New York City's way cooler, especially if I stay there a couple extra days. So,
are they going to be paying those extra days, or do you have to pay for them?
No, I'll pay for. They'll pay for like the return flight,
right?
And the hotels when I'm actually staying there on their time. But those extra hotel days I'll have to pay for.
Gotcha. Still not bad. You'll have fun out there.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you drinking?
Pepsi. I'm trying to win a jet.
How's that going?
It's good. I just saw a case of Pepsi at the store the other day, and I was like, I haven't had Pepsi in a while, so I bought the whole thing.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Not good. That's a lot of sugar.
I thought it was going to be better when I bought it, and now I'm like,
now you got to drink it.
Yeah. It used to be my go-to when I was up in Canada. All my billet parents would buy was Pepsi, so I had to crush some Pepsi.
Yeah, that was my go-to as well. I had other choices there too, but yeah, I'm continuing on with Nuevo content over here. I set a Asana task for me to have a recurring task for me to do every bi-weekly, and that's just to create a new blog. And I think I'm on a 2-week streak right now, and then after this weekend I'm going to be on a 3-week streak. So last week I had a couple minutes in the morning, and I decided to make another one. So after this weekend I'll be on a 3-week streak. Sent out a couple emails. We're just trying to move it.
Yeah.
It's not moving. We're trying to move it. So yeah, that's where we're at with that.
Sorry, I was a little bit locked out there. My recorder, I don't know if it was recording the first couple minutes. So if you guys got shitty audio on the first couple minutes, that's on me. I hit the record and the button was red, but it just had zeros across the board. Good thing I checked, because I never check this thing, man. It's rolling out.
So you're probably gonna have to use your camera audio if you didn't have any.
Yeah, for the first couple minutes, but you know what? If you're a true fan, I don't want to redo the intro. It was too candid, too real. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying you were moving though? That's my fault.
Trying to move Nuevo.
Oh, yep.
Up and out.
Gotcha. Yeah, and also trying to move your whole body to a different state.
We'll see. I wasn't going to say anything about that. I was.
All right, that's a teaser. That's a teaser.
Well, yeah, I was gonna. That's maybe in next week or week from now. That'll be yeah, that'll potentially be coming out. We're still trying to work with that, but yeah. What else is going on with you?
Masterminds are back. Me and Tyler got back into the groove of having a mastermind, and honestly, it felt good. We hadn't done it.
Is it really back in the groove if it's just once?
Oh yeah, we're grooving and grinding, you know.
If you say so.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Usually they're about an hour long, and we went for like 2 hours, I think. But we're not. One. I don't think we're doing it this coming week, so it's okay. We had to make up for this coming week by doing this one 2 hours long. So masterminds are good though. I think we're going to get back into those for 2024.
I mean, we started off the year strong, but we didn't finish strong. I mean, I guess we are with one.
Yeah, we're freaking. We had one little. lull.
Yeah, we got to stay consistent. That's what it's all about. Consistency.
I've talked to Tyler about this before, so maybe we can hear from the viewers. But I think we should record one of these masterminds and just post it for you guys to listen to. So if that's something that you're like, oh, I wonder what this is like, me and Tyler will have that discussion, but we need your feedback first. But yeah, masterminds are back. And then I also had to, just get a nice little fat tax write-off today. Ordered a laptop for the project.
Realized, buy some shit.
Realized that when I'm on this shoot in New York City and LA, I'm going to have to dump the footage, and I'm not bringing a monitor and my Mac Studio, and my laptop is completely worthless at this point. So yeah, I had to bite the bullet. I wanted to get the 1 terabyte option, and apparently if you customize it, they have to manufacture it, and it wouldn't get here till like January 10th. So I just had to get the 512 gigabyte option, and it'll be here next Wednesday. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. Should be cool. I haven't had a laptop in a while. I'm going to be a digital nomad now.
It's great. Once I got my laptop, I didn't realize, I think when I first got it, like maybe the first month, I realized how great it was. And then I think the next 11 months, I didn't realize how great it was. And then I was exporting an hour-long video on Premiere, and it basically took like 5 minutes. And I was like, wow. I really this is so much better than my old laptop, because honestly, for the viewers, listeners, that would have taken probably 7 hours on my last laptop, and my last laptop would have crashed 3 times in the process. So I would have had to keep trying it again and again and again, and it never probably would have happened. So it's just so nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to have it. We were talking about what chip it is. It's a MacBook Pro for the people listening, and it is now an M3 Pro. We're like, oh, the M2 chip's out. Apparently, they're just past the M2, and that's old news. So yeah, they have the M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max. So what size is your laptop? I got a 16-inch screen. I just figured you've got to go big.
15, and whenever people see mine, it's like, damn, that's big. It's like, and then I saw yours, I was like, 16. Sheesh.
Yeah. And I figured, buy once, cry once. I don't ever want to be like, I wish my screen was smaller, So yeah, fits my backpack. I made sure I have a backpack with one of those laptop sleeves in the back. So that's nice. And yeah, I'm excited to get it.
Yeah. It's game changer. And then you're going to be a true digital nomad, something that I'm trying to work towards. Would be cool. It's tough when you're training for an Ironman though.
What kind of sucks, because the only time I can ever do like intensive work, like editing or anything with hard drives, is in my office. Other than that, I'm like, I can't do anything. I could send some emails, but now that I'll have a laptop that actually holds a charge, it's going to be electric.
Yeah. It's a game changer.
So give you more updates on that in next week's episode. Well, depending on when we film it, maybe 2 weeks. Tyler, what else you got for us?
I got my client to sign on for the big package, and
hey, yo.
I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, damn, maybe I did undercharge.
Yep.
I mean, I maybe could have charged a little bit more, but
here's how you have to look at it. If you think you undercharged, when you think about the third package, when you were putting it together, did you think the third one was just, this is ridiculous, there's no way they'll ever pick it? Was that the thought process that was going through your head? Because that's what should be going through your head.
I don't think it was that extent, but it was kind of close.
Yeah. So I always make sure that third one is like, if they say yes to this big package, I'm going to laugh because it's crazy. So that's how
Yeah,
make
I
the
definitely
third
didn't
one
laugh.
so ridiculous. Make the third one where it's like no fucking way. So I had one client pick I think it was a $10,000 third package, it was like $9,700. And when he said it, like we were on a Zoom call and I had to contain like making facial expressions because I was like, no way you're going with the third one, really?
No shot.
And they went for it. So yeah, I always try to make the third one the most absurd, crazy, unrealistic thing ever. And then the second one, the second one can be your, the one he took, which is totally fine. So, but hey, you
Next
live
time.
and you learn. Live and you learn.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. So, and he wanted to do month to month. So, I mean, as long as I'm able to perform and we do well, it'll continue on long. But it all rests on me at this point.
Yeah.
So, we just got to perform.
Your fate is in your own hands.
Exactly. So, I'm fairly confident in my abilities. We just got to make sure that we do a good job and make sure that he's happy. So it's just, I think there's a huge aspect of it, of results and client relationships, where you can have the best results, but if you don't have a good client relationship, they might not keep you on. So there's a mix of having a really good relationship with the client and having them keep you on. So I'll do my best to maintain a good, positive client relationship, and hopefully we stay on together for a while and maybe increase those prices eventually.
Yeah, it really helps. I mean, the relationship goes a long way where, one, if there are any issues that come up with the deliverables you're giving them, they give you a little bit more slack. You have a little bit of a longer leash. But if you don't have a good relationship and you guys feel like strangers, that's when it's like, it's easy to cut this guy to the curb.
Right. I don't think it'll be like that, just because in the contract we're going to be meeting weekly for a short meeting, and then we got a monthly meeting. So there's going to be a lot of meetings, which kind of sucks. But other than that, I think we will be kind of close. We'll see.
And maybe in the beginning you do those weekly meetings and you guys realize we don't need to meet this much, and then you push
it was something he
every other
specifically
week.
requested. I think clients want to meet more often, because I do see that a bit at my current work, where they do want to meet quite a bit, but we started to change it, because before it used to be, I think, bi-weekly. So you'd meet twice a month, and those would be like hour-long meetings. And then we realized that's not good. And then we switched it to monthly, and then we realized we could push it to quarterly. And I love quarterly because like your calendar just frees up so much when you don't have client meetings.
Oh yeah. Some meetings are great. The ones where you close projects and deals, but the meetings that I've went through a few meetings the last couple of weeks where we're talking about the same thing over and over and over. I'm like, let's just make some decisions here. So I get how that can be with the meetings that don't really mean much.
Yeah, we'll see how those goes. And going off of what you were saying with your laptop, buying shit at the end of the year, that's what I did too. Bought some shit and kind of happy about that. One of them I think is actually really beneficial. It was like buying a course for Google Ads. So it's just basically helping me become a better marketer so I can provide better services for my clients. So
which is
I think
good.
that'll be payoff.
Yeah. How's it going so far? Have you dove into it?
It's not bad. It's like a community, and there's like all the recorded trainings from the past, and then he has live calls. So other than that, it's nothing too crazy. I asked a question, he answered it. Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. Got to keep learning. Always be learning. That's what people say.
Always. Right? Yes, it is.
Tyler, you got any more updates for us before we go to this week's news story?
No, that's everything.
All right. So this week, news story. One of my buddies actually sent me this article, but Apple Watch, 2 of their watches are on the verge of being banned in the United States from being sold. And, this article talks about how Apple Watch, they have some oxygen sensor technology, and they have taken some intellectual property from this tech company. It's called like Mozimo or something like that. And they've taken this technology from the company, and they basically said like, you can't sell this anymore. And it has gone through. They're at the point right now where the only people that can shut this down is the actual White House if Biden was to veto it. But it's pretty crazy that I don't see that very often, where a company just has to, especially a company like Apple, just has to stop selling a product.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast about this, and they didn't talk about that being the issue. So when I first saw this, I was like, because what they just talked about, it was the Motley Fool. So they just typically talk about money and stocks and that stuff. They didn't really talk about this aspect of it, because you would think the stock would tank a little bit if they're infringing on potential IP, but it just seems like it's so tough to not, like, unless this is extremely new and other watches don't do this, I don't really get how other watches can't do this without infringing on other IPs or patents and shit like that.
It must be something relatively new, because it's only two models they can't sell. It's the Series 9 and the Ultra 2. So those are the ones that have this oxygen testing, which I guess I don't know Apple a ton, but I assume those are their newer watches. They could still sell their older models, but apparently this technology in these watches has been created or found by Mazimo. I think that's what it is, Mazimo. And they're like, hey, they're stealing our shit. So
I don't.
That's
feel
how
like
I see it.
I always think that Apple's like behind, and they always release stuff later, and they always take their time releasing it. It's like, we'll release this small little thing and then this small little thing, and it always, because you always hear like these Samsung losers that talk about the S23 or whatever. It's like, oh, nice for like Apple to join the party or whatever it is, and it's like, yeah, okay, buddy, do you have iMessage? But
how do you get it from your laptop to your phone?
You don't
right? Have AirDrop? What do you do?
Yeah, do you AirDrop? But yeah, so I don't know if it's, maybe they just got pissed because they were poaching some of their employees. That's what it seemed like Apple was doing a little bit, where they're stealing some of the executives or higher tech people at Masimo. I don't know how to pronounce it either, but I don't know. Maybe they just pissed them off and then they went after them. It'll be interesting to see how it goes out, though.
Yeah, the CEO of the company said he's not very fond of Apple's leadership team. He met with them on a partnership where they were talking about working together, and he basically saw that as them meeting in bad faith, where they didn't really want to partner, and then they just poached some of their employees. So he said he extended an olive branch to still work with Apple, even though he wasn't super happy with their decision making. And I don't think they're working together, but yeah, he was a little upset. And now they can only, I think starting December 21st, you won't be able to import the products. So, I mean, any retail stores that have these products can still sell them, but they can't sell them online starting December 21st. They
actually pulled them off their website, I believe, already.
Oh, really? Okay.
At least Apple's website. Well, it's actually 22nd today, so that would make sense.
So that makes a lot of sense. So yeah.
Put your notifications on Do Not Disturb.
I was checking the date, and then I got a text, and then
yeah, sure.
That
buddy.
was your fault. You said the 22nd, and I looked. I'm like, it is the 22nd.
Sure, buddy.
But yeah, so good luck buying a Series 9 or an Ultra 2.
Yeah, get it before they stop selling them.
Yeah, you gotta go find
the proprietary information that they have on it.
Go to one of the retail stores that might have it.
Yeah.
All right. So this week we're going to be talking about our yearly reflection. I think this is something we did last year too, Tyler. But we're just going to kind of go over what we did this year, what worked, what didn't work, what we were happy about, what we weren't very happy about, and just kind of reflect on 2023. So Tyler, I'm going to throw it over to you. We'll have you get started right away. You get the ball's in your court, sir.
I think reflection's a really good thing to go back and do. Just because a lot of the times you don't realize potentially how much stuff that you actually accomplish, and it's good to reflect back on what you did, what you accomplished, maybe like what you set out to achieve. And I think reflection's really good. I used to do this monthly, where every month I would write down what I did that month and blah, 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 reflect on it. And I think it's just a good thing to do consistently, just so you're able to see the progress that you did make. Because when I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, the year's almost done. Like, what did I even do this year? Just felt like I flew by. And when I look back on it, like, I feel like I did quite a bit, but there's always those times where it's like, I feel like I could have done so much more. But some of the stuff that I did this year, I signed up and joined Arte, and at the start, I was like well into it and really consistent with it, watching all the replays and joining every single call, trying to make every single call that I could make. And then I slowly veered away from it and wasn't spending as much time in it. I started my new business. I signed up and completed a marathon. I signed up for an Ironman and started training it. I started this Google ad course. So some of the stuff is more recent, but some of the stuff at the beginning of the year, I don't think if you said I was going to be doing it or signing up for an Ironman, I don't think I would have believed it, because at the time I was injured and I wasn't even running. So It's just crazy how far I've come just within a year of not even running throughout January and February. And then I think I started around March, maybe a couple runs throughout March and then a couple throughout April. And then all of a sudden I finished a marathon and signed up for an Ironman. So that's just some of the stuff that physically that I did. And it's just kind of crazy to think about.
So my question, Arate, when is that over? Do you have to like sign up for another year? What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's actually one thing I wanted to talk about on the mastermind, but I completely forgot about. But yeah, that's going to be coming up soon. So they sent out these, if you're on video, they sent out like these coins, and it just says, so that one's the 9 month. So I got 3, 6, and 9 months. And I just got that maybe a month ago. So I got maybe a couple more months. I thought I signed up beginning of January. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But that's going to be coming up. I don't know how it works. I was looking through the account to see if I could switch my credit card or whatever it is, how it works. And I couldn't find anything. So I'm not sure if they're going to email me or what's going to happen. Maybe they just automatically charge you, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. But that's one thing that I wasn't really sure of, because I know my focus hasn't been there as much as I'd want it to be. And it is a good expense, and like it's nice to be in that community of other people that are on similar paths and have similar mindsets. I just don't know if I want to commit to it again. Maybe I do. This one client came from Arate, so I wouldn't have him without Arate. And if he stays with me, I think maybe that'd be like 3 months. If he stays with me about 3 months, that's paid for. But that's just 1 year paid for. But I think it's a good opportunity. I think I just have my focus spread out way too much to be able to spend as much time and dedicate as much time as I'd like to get my money's worth truly out of it, to where it like pays dividends. And they just had this. So I think it's been around for about 5 years. And I think they flew in everyone that's been there from the start to Andy's house, and they had a little shindig there, and they gave out awards and prizes, and it was just like the original people in Arate. And I was like, damn, that's pretty fucking cool. And then it just made me want to stay even longer. And I was just like,
you're like, I want to go to one of those parties.
I want to go to Andy's house and have a party in his car garage. Like, damn, that's sick as fuck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's very interesting. I kind of have the same, not the same thing, but you know, I joined the VBA this year, which is a monthly expense, and that's coming up here, I think February. I think maybe January might be the last payment, December and January, which is exciting. I don't know I'm in the same spot as you, where I don't know what the re-up fee is. It can't be the same as I've been paying. But yeah, that was one of the big things 2023 that we both did, was found some sort of mentorship, which we were, I think, skeptical at the beginning. And then once we got into it, we realized it is super helpful.
Right.
You know, grew the revenue of the business. I really wanted to do that this year. I know I had a goal of 500K. I'm not going to hit 500K, but I think it's good to shoot higher. I know when we were originally setting those goals at the beginning of the year, we said, you know, 200, let's shoot for 250K. And you're like, why not 500? Because if you fall short of 500, it's better than falling short of 250. So that was a good little mindset trick that I had. And then
it also expands your mind too.
Yeah. To how do you get to that point, you know?
Yeah.
And then we worked on a lot of bigger jobs this year. I think this is the 1 year that I started thinking the bigger jobs, you know, a $10,000 project is possible. Whereas before I'm like, oh my gosh, you know how much stuff I'd have to deliver for $10,000? It's like, no, I just finished a project this week where we delivered 2 different ads, a 60, a 30, and a 15-second one for each of them. And it was $9,500. And I'm like, before this year, I never would have thought that was possible. But joining the VBA, implementing the processes and the systems they have in there, that's been another big thing, has really helped for 2023.
What would you say your biggest takeaway from VBA was?
I would say that the systems and processes that you need in place are super important. Where before I thought I had them, now, looking back, I definitely didn't have what I needed. But, even just going through the, what do they call it? The original call, the discovery call, and then going through the strategy meeting, and then sending a video over with your contract, explaining things, the 3-tiered packaging system, which we talked about last episode, learning all of that stuff. You don't know what you don't know. And then once I did realize that, and I saw the different strategies that they were implementing, it really helped the business grow. I think there's a quote that we've talked about before where it's, you fall to the level of the systems you have in place. So if you have no system, things are going to be a mess. But if you stumble and fall back, you're automatically going to go to that even point where this is what my systems make sure is happening on a daily basis. This is the baseline, you could call it. So implementing those systems has been really good.
Nice. Yeah, that was one thing that I had a Arte call last night. It's with the younger guys. They organized a group of just some of the younger people in the group, and then they had someone come on yesterday and talk to us. And that's one thing that he talked about is having mentors and being a mentor for someone, because you get both sides of the spectrum where someone's giving you advice. You can potentially give them advice that's like they're ahead of you. You can potentially give them advice, but then at the same time, you have to give someone else advice that's behind you. And then that opens your mind to new and different aspects of the business and whatever it is in life. And I think that's one thing that Arte has had a really big impact on me, for just like having those mentors there, because like I get these extra calls with Andy and Ed, and then at the same time just being able to surround myself with other people in similar circumstances that I'm in is just huge.
The mentor-mentee thing, I was never really sure about that at the beginning of this year. I was at, it's probably like a scam, I'm just paying someone to talk me through these things or whatever it is. And then once I went through it, I'm like, this is like, I understand why people say, having a mentor is a good thing.
Well, at the same time, you don't even need to pay for mentors. Like, sure, there are other ones like the VBA, Arte, you can do that, but just finding someone in your local area, like that's what he was saying. He's like, I'll reach out to someone that's maybe 50, 60 years old, and I'll be like, hey, you want to get some coffee? Hey, you want to go out to eat? And it's just being able to go out and have a discussion with them and talk about business. And that's what he kind of said, where this has been his mindset for years now. Like he said, he started when he was 16, and that's all he really ever thought of is business. So whenever he goes out to talk with, like out for dinner with someone that's 10, 15, 20 years ahead of him, they talk about business, like what's going on with you, what's that, like life, whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be something where you're finding someone online and you're paying for like their $20,000 course. You can find someone in your local area that's potentially, like even with Arte, I could reach out to other people that are in marketing and be like, hey, do you mind connecting for a quick 30 minutes or something? I just want to pick your brain and see how you got to where you're at, and see, just give me some different ideas, some guidance, whatever. And a lot of people are more than willing to do that because they want to help other people be successful at the same time.
Yeah. And that's where you can't be afraid to ask people those types of questions. Whether they're above you or below you, everyone knows something that you don't know. So yeah, I mean, I was this guy that I know, I've known forever. He runs a media company here in Minot, and we were at the bar and we were just chatting. We talked about like 20, 30 minutes about what's going on in his business, how he's doing things, how he's getting sponsors, how he's selling. And it was good to have that conversation. So you can't be afraid to just ask people their experiences with things. And if you want to get specific, get specific.
It's similar to giving. Because if you ever seen those videos where people give away money or whatever it is, or they'll be like, hey, I'll give you $100 or you can help give me away $500.
Yeah.
And people just love to give away money or whatever it is, time, knowledge. People just love to give it away because it's part of like giving, and it makes them feel good about themselves.
Yeah. And so take that. If they're going to give it, take it. All right, Tyler, on the flip side then, what are some things that you said you were going to do this year and you didn't do? If we're reflecting, we reflected on some of the good stuff, but let's reflect on some of the bad stuff.
Did I? Okay. I went a little bit too far here. Yeah. And I think, so I wrote down my goals and quitting my job. Man, this is going to be, it's going to be like a decade long thing of me just saying that. But yeah, my strategy, right. My strategist, about a year and a few months ago, we both said 2023, we're done. She's done. Yeah. I'm still there. And then I've been saying it for a while. I don't know. And I think it just comes back to my goals. I set these goals and I wasn't doing the actions that would get me to those goals. Mm-hmm. So that's basically some of the stuff that I need to work on.
Yeah. And I'd say on the flip side, I'm in the same boat as you. I think goals is a big thing. I had a goal to get 10,000 YouTube subscribers. And the big thing that I said I was going to do this year that I didn't do was the YouTube game. So I think this year I really want to focus on whatever my goals are, look at them more often and always be thinking, how can I actually implement the steps to get to these goals rather than here's my goals. Let's see if we hit them at the end. There you go. Tyler if you guys are listeners, Tyler just showed his lock screen and it says his goals right on the front.
Mm-hmm. I told you to do this I don't know, what was that, 6 months ago? Yeah. A year ago?
Well, it obviously didn't work for you last year.
Hey, I got 1 and almost 2 checked off. So
Okay. Get 3 checked off and then come back to me.
Well, the third one's like a big goal.
Yeah, your Audi, whatever.
Yeah. Got to get the Audi R8.
Yeah. The thing is, I've done that before where you put something on your lock screen that you want to see. And then I'm so like when I grab my phone or something, I never look at the lock screen ever. I forget I even have a lock screen. So it just turns into like a subconscious thing where I just don't see it anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that because it is at that point for me. And I was thinking about redoing it and making a new one for this coming year because it has gotten to that point where I don't really look at it.
Starts to blend in.
Yeah. It's like that pattern recognition. Maybe I can make 2 different ones because I have 2 separate ones, one for my lock screen and one for my home screen. So maybe I can make 2 separate ones.
You're going to have to, you have to switch it like monthly just so your eyes don't get used to it.
Maybe. Change up the background picture.
Yeah. Super bright, like a neon green. That'd be good.
Do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's pivot back into, kind of the good things then, Tyler. We're just doing, Rochambeau, left, right. What are some things this year that worked, that you actually are like, hey, this worked well. I'm glad I did this.
I think one is signing up for Arte because I think, oh man, I wrote that down somewhere. This is why I don't like New Year's resolutions. You write it down once and you never look at it again. Yeah, I wrote it down somewhere that I want to spend more money on myself and education. And I did that. I did that with Arte and I did that with the Google Ads thing. But the Google Ads thing, I waited till the end of the year. But at the same time, I did still spend money on myself. And that's one thing that I think I did well is being active in the communities. Maybe I could have been a little bit more active in actually the Facebook group, but I tried to join as many calls as I could. I joined some, and then the Canada one, I ended up not really joining anymore just because I was training for my Ironman during those meetings at that time. And I signed up for an accountability social media one that's taking place right currently now. So, but I've been really consistent with the ones that are like after dinner, and that's the one with the younger guys. Like that one's like at, was it 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock. Yeah. So it's a lot easier for me to do that one as opposed to the ones that are either in the morning or during the day. So just being more active in the communities has been pretty good for me. What I noticed with my long form content on YouTube, for some reason, people click on that and watch it. Like I'll make 30, 60-minute long videos. And for some reason, people watch that. I put, what did it take me? I think it took me about 2 weeks to edit my one video. It's a long video, but no one watches it. I don't get it. And it's like copying Sam Solik and doing his style videos has been really good for me so far. And then my day ones, I think they help keep me accountable, which is good in doing shit because it's like, okay, I got to film me doing something. So it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And I'm going to do this for a while. So that helped keep me accountable, but there was a big commitment to it and a time commitment, but there wasn't much ROI on it. So that's one thing that I ended up crossing off, but they did help keep me accountable.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, we talked about that. I think we talked about that specifically in one episode where you might not see the ROI as followers or monetary gain, but the ROI was in the accountability of you actually staying true to it every day, being consistent with it.
Yeah, that's what it was. The original goal was to keep me consistent with the mundane tasks throughout each and every single day, because that tends to be what happens when you're doing stuff like this, where it's just every day is the same. And it's like you don't feel like you're making any progress, but it's like day after day after day, just win one day at a time. So that did help there. And I didn't go into it expecting an ROI, but I think the ROI came with the actions.
Yeah. And, on my side, I think that the systems was kind of the biggest thing this year, is that implementing those systems, whether that came from the VBA or just knowing that I needed to put in some systems, really put some structure to the business where it felt less like a random, wake up with your head cut off, like, all right, what are we doing today to make money? Whereas now it seems like more structured, and those systems are growing the business where it's something tangible that you can see rather than just, a crazy freelancer. I think that's kind of the biggest thing that worked this year for me. And then the bigger jobs really honed in on doing the work that you want to be paid for, where you could take jobs here and there that's like, oh, it's this much money, I'll do it for $400, where you stop doing those ones and you start to have a minimum price, minimum level of engagement. And it's okay to say no. So those are probably the two biggest things I learned, is that really focus on the jobs that you want, and then the systems to actually implement into the business are going to help a ton moving forward.
How did you learn to start to say no? Is it just your standards, or?
I think it was supply and demand. It kind of, it showed up where it's like, I don't have time to do that for that amount of money. So it's not like, because at some point when you have no work, you'll do anything. Right. So it did help that, I was fairly busy and that I was allowed to say no. But if you can get to the point where you're saying no from the beginning, that's awesome. But I think it came with, I don't have enough time, and the little amount of time I do have, I want to be doing bigger projects. So I can't fill it up with all these little things that I don't want to be doing or that don't align with the work that we want to be shooting.
Okay. So that's, okay.
Which is good.
Did you say that's time management?
I think so. I mean, a little bit. You got to manage the amount of shoot days that you have available and how much you can actually deliver. And then it also, after doing all of those jobs, the smaller ones and the ones that aren't very fun to do and they don't pay very well, you start to realize like these are bigger headaches than they're worth taking. And once you get to the bigger jobs, one, they're more fun to do because it's like, oh my gosh, we could put so much more work into this. It's going to look way better. We could take our time editing it. Whereas the other ones, it's like, okay, well, it's not very much money, so I'm just going to edit super quick. And then they come back with revisions because you didn't put very much time into it. And it turns into this vicious cycle. So I think it naturally progressed to the point where the bigger jobs were just the ones we were saying yes to. One, because of the time that we had allowed to shoot, and two, because you just kind of realize I don't want to shoot those shitty projects.
Projects that you used to always do.
Yeah. But hey, someone's got to do them. Just can't be me.
Growing up so fast.
Yeah. What are some things that didn't work for you, Tyler? Maybe I'll go first. Sales process, something that didn't work for me that worked at the beginning, sales process and reaching out to people. I know we've talked about it multiple times. We talked about it on the mastermind a bunch of times of, hey, we're going to send cold emails. We're going to do this, that, the other thing. At the beginning of the year, it was fine. I got some replies, but nothing where I found this proven strategy to be like, hey, this is how you're going to get this amount of clients. So I was not very consistent with that. Halfway through the year, just pretty much stopped doing it with how busy I got. But that was the one big thing where it's like, the sales process isn't 100% there, where it's more so jobs just coming, we do them and wait for the next one, where I'd like to have some outbound sales for 2024. That's kind of a goal that I'd like to implement into 2024.
email marketing, and landing page with your videos.
Yeah, I think that's the next big thing. We talked about that on the mastermind last week. Just get those scripts ready, and I got to send you a couple landing pages too. But get those scripts ready and build that out. I think that's a more organic way to do it rather than DMing someone. Hey, get a meeting with me. Get a meeting with me. Get a meeting with me. So yeah, that's the next strategy. But I do think there is a place in the market for doing those outbound and starting to build those relationships. But I really like what the podcast is doing, the business podcast interviews, meeting people there.
Yeah.
And the one thing you realize is that it's a long game. It's really, unless you're selling like a physical product like shoes, you can maybe hit somebody with an ad and then you get them in a buying mood and then they buy the shoes. But with a service-based business where you are selling big, high ticket items, it's really hard to close them on that first conversation. So you have to build that relationship before they trust you to give you, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing. So I guess I could go back to what I said I was going to do that I didn't end up doing, and it just comes back to quitting and cold emailing. I think I maybe sent, I don't even know how many, less than 10 for sure.
Yeah.
I sent a few out. That's all I know. So I said I was going to do that, but what didn't really work well for me is I know it's something that I struggle with, and I probably will struggle with it until I quit my job, but focus. I'm just focusing on way too much and doing way too much, I think.
Juggling too many things. We've talked about that, that's what I had to talk you off the ledge when you wanted to start a course, wanted me to start a course.
Still going to do it.
Do it later.
It's on the horizon. It's on the horizon.
You got to have some hyper focus. So yeah, that's one thing maybe you can focus on 2024. But I think you're finding your sweet spot now. I think you're finding it a little bit.
No, I have too much stuff going on. I think I need to drop one or two things that are on my mind.
Kill your darlings. That's what they say in the film industry.
Is that what they say?
Yep. Even if you have a really good scene that you really like, if it's not doing much for the story, kill it. Take it to the chopping block and kill it. Yeah. I was editing a couple ads and there were a couple shots. I'm like, this shot looks so good, but like we just don't have space for it in the minute time length. Like, fucking cut it, and it sucks, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, then Tyler, are you where you thought you'd be? If you were having this conversation at the beginning of 2023 and you said, I'm going to be here when we do this episode, are you where you thought you'd be?
I don't know. I could see it, but like a close spot to it. Obviously.
Yes and no, you're saying.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't expect the marathon and Ironman stuff, but I think the work and the business, I could see, because like I didn't do anything with work. I'm still there, and I could see that, where I'm just being like, man, you're a pussy, and of course you didn't quit. And the business, it's not like it's taken off, but there's momentum being built right now, which is nice. So I think there's a few things that it's like yes, and then there's a few things that are no, and that's like the Ironman, the marathon, documenting on YouTube and getting back there, because I think at the beginning of the year I wasn't posting. Maybe I was, but I don't think I was. I think I took a little bit of a break, try and figure out what I wanted to do and direction, and I think I found that direction, and this is definitely not something that I think I expected.
Yeah, and I think with you saying yes and no, I think obviously the not quitting the job is the big thing, but you're learning. It's like, hey, I started this business. Now I kind of know what it takes. If I want to quit one day, how many clients do I need? What do the clients look like, And now you kind of know how am I getting the clients? So you're on the right trajectory. And the Ironman and marathon throw a big wrench into plans when you're doing that 4 hours every day.
Yeah, definitely doesn't help.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of the process, and can't connect the dots looking forward. You can connect them looking backwards. Maybe I won't be able to connect them looking backwards. Maybe it's just like, man, you're an idiot.
Hindsight's, what do they say? Hindsight's always 20/20, something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
I'm in the same boat as you. Yes and no. I really wanted to grow the business this year. If you're looking at it from a strictly revenue side, then I would say yes. But if you're looking at it from a growth perspective where, I'm adding a team, maybe I have an office, I would say no. Going through the beginning of 2023, I'm like, it'd be good to hire somebody this year. Didn't hire somebody this year. So yes and no. It almost feels like it's just a higher end freelancer now, where before it's like, oh, you can give me for this price and I'll come there with a team. And now I'm just talking to a different set of people that have more money saying, well, if you can get me for this price and you have a team. So 2024, start to figure out the trajectory of turning it into, not that it's not a business, but a more so traditional business like you see where, you have a team, people that are doing pre-production, maybe someone that's doing the editing, where I don't have to wear every single hat. So that's kind of the no end of it where it's, it's not exactly where I thought it would be. But like you said, it's a slow growth. You gotta let things pan out as they will.
This is where I don't know. I think we have different views here because both you and I have done this to ourselves. We've created jobs for ourselves. We don't have a business. We don't have a money machine. Like, I think you're working towards it, but I think you're scared to pull the trigger of hiring people, because once you start hiring people, you're pulling yourself away from that job that you created from yourself.
Yeah, I'm not scared to do it. It's just a cash flow issue right now. Like, I could do it, but I don't want to hire someone to fire them 2 months later. You know what I mean? So it's right on the horizon, but I'd like to get that situation figured out first.
That's where the entrepreneur endures the shit and they cut their wage. And
yeah, my wage is about as cut as it can get.
I feel like you can cut it a lot more. You pay yourself a handsome amount, and Minot housing is very cheap and affordable.
I don't pay myself terribly that much.
I mean, I think you could pay yourself a lot less. I think you can get by on a lot less.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I'm not going to. It's easier to just make more money. Why just cut yourself short? So
just be a higher end freelancer.
Yeah, no, it's getting there. You just gotta have faith, Tyler. Just gotta have faith.
See, I think this would speed it up, but you're gonna have to endure shit. That's the way I view it.
But right now, there's nobody to hire. Who do I hire? There's no editors.
I mean, I'm sure you could find editors. You're just being picky. I've looked
the last 6 months. Well, yeah, you have to be picky. I could find Joe Schmo off the street, but you can't diminish the quality of work that's going out.
I'm sure my opinion.
You think you can diminish the quality of work?
No, I don't think. Well, yeah, I think that has to go. Like
the quality of work?
Yeah. Obviously you want to hire people that are better than you, and that's how your team gets better, and but at the same time you're an expert in that. So it's tough to find someone to replace someone that's an expert at this.
I don't need someone better. I just need someone that's serviceable.
See, the way you say that makes me think you're being extremely picky and you just don't want to give it up and you're worried about the business.
Trust me, I would more than love to give up the editing side of things.
Someone's serviceable, he says, and he can't find anyone that's serviceable.
Do you know where I live, Tyler?
It's a remote position.
How many video people? It's hard to do remote though when you're transferring 400 gigabytes of footage for one project.
I guess.
Yeah. So it is tough. How many video people here do you know besides me?
I don't know. I don't live there.
Yeah. But you did live here. And it's slim pickings.
How's your one guy going? Is he learning?
He's getting better, but you have to let that develop as it's going. So yeah, it's getting there. You just gotta have faith, Tyler. Just trust the process.
I'm trying to speed the process up.
I'll hire someone up when you quit. That's my ultimatum. So
well, looks like that's never happened.
Yeah, get off my meat. Jesus. All right. So what are your 2024 plans, Tyler? Now that we've went through everything.
Yeah, looking forward, it's my priority list is Ironman. So I want to be able to not only finish that, I feel like I can finish it right now. I want to be able to be competitive. How did I phrase that? Yeah, competitive. Competable. Is that even a word? I want to be competitive in that. I set a very big, ambitious goal of qualifying for world champs, which I don't think I'll be able to hit, but I want to be competitive in the race. I want to give it my all, and I want to have really good training and document that process. So posting on YouTube, Instagram, whatever it might be. Potentially big news coming up in the next week on that. And then growing New Frame, I want to spend more time trying to grow it. So maybe recording some podcasts, or building out some blogs, maybe some YouTube videos there. Trying to actually generate more clients so I can be a little bit more comfortable when I do quit, if that ever happens, and potentially closing up Nuevo shop.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the 2024 goals. We'll have to stay tuned into them and talk about them as we go. I think that's one thing we didn't really do in 2023. Maybe we can have like quarterly updates on the pod talking about where we're at and if we're staying true to it. Yeah. As far as it goes on my end, YouTube probably should figure that out this year. Last year, pretty abysmal. We talked about this on the mastermind that we're gonna get cracking on that.
Shit.
Yes, we're gonna be doing that. Revenue growth again, obviously grow the company. That's an obvious one. We talked about some revenue goals on the mastermind. Hire a team this year to do it. If Tyler gets off my ass, I might just do it to spite him. I might just keep it. I might make $1 million being a freelancer, and go from there.
Please do.
God, that would be incredible, hey? And then I think just honing in on the process that I've implemented in 2023, just really fine tuning those for 2024 and make sure things get sharper. Tacker, what is it when they're just tighter? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Iron sharpens iron. I don't know.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. So yeah, those are 2024 goals. We'll be updating those as we go, and maybe we'll change them because I know we had a couple changes this year, 2023, as things change and businesses change. But yeah, it's gonna be a good year.
Do you see yourself changing?
The goals?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think I changed very much last year besides not doing YouTube. But I don't think there's going to be any big pivots at all.
Do you see yourself pursuing all these?
Yeah.
And giving the good old college try.
Oh yeah. College try. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing to do. Is try like you do in college.
All right.
Didn't go to college, but shit. That's all right. Yeah. All right. Tyler, anything else? We'll go to this week's business idea.
No, I think it's just important to do some reflection, whether you do monthly, weekly. Weekly might be too little, but you can still do weekly, but monthly, yearly, just to reflect back on what you did accomplish, because sometimes that people are too busy and too inundated. I don't know.
Inundated,
that word just popped in my head. I don't even know the definition of it. I was like, this sounds right. Makes me sound smart. I don't know if it's right. So yeah, I think reflection is just really good to go back and reflect on what you set out, what you accomplished, what you didn't accomplish, why you didn't accomplish it. And I think it's a good perspective on how you did and what you achieved and why you didn't do some stuff.
Yeah. So go ahead. You're listening to this on December 25th at the earliest. Do some reflection. What happened 2023? What worked? What didn't work? Then plan for 2024. This week's business idea, the chicken chopper. So I was having some chicken before this for lunch. And I'm thinking it was just a chicken breast that I had in the fridge. I heated it up. It wasn't cut. But you know how when you cut up chicken, you want it in bite-sized pieces? Why don't they just have like a fucking thing? You just hold the handle and chop the whole thing at one time, and it just cuts it into all these pieces. You know, kind of how like you do an apple where you push down that slicer and it slices it into pieces. Why can't there be a chicken chopper where you just take it, punch the thing, boom. Now you got all even sized pieces. They're a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. How's that not a thing? It's got to be a thing, right?
Why can't you just use the apple chopper?
Because that's,
or
that's
knife.
Pieces aren't right. Knife takes too long. I'm thinking this is an efficient, one punch type deal. The apple thing you could probably use if you reformatted it, but that's got two handles.
When I worked at a restaurant, there's this French fry thing where it's like a square like this,
and you put a potato in there.
It's got the grates, and then you just like drop it.
So there should be a chicken thing for that.
Maybe you just use the French fry thing, and then it just comes out and fries.
But we need to invent
Then you
it to
deep
be
fry it. And then you deep
for
fry it. Oh
everyday
man, we're
house.
onto something here. Maybe you bread it first, and then you deep fry it. Man, then you got some French fried chickens.
You chop it, it goes through the batter, drops into the thing. Yeah, this will be good. Chicken fries. Maybe it's what Burger King invented. Could be. But that's what I'm
Sounds
thinking.
like
If
a
I
good
just had
idea.
that on hand, where I just pull it out of the drawer, do the old slap chop on top of my chicken, boom, 20 pieces.
Why don't you
right
get a
there.
slap chop?
I do have one, but that's like a circular bowl, and you got to do this. I need a one punch, one thing, one size fits all. Put it on there. Maybe it's got a flat piece and you hit it, and then pops down, everything's cut.
Okay.
Just think, imagine you're making your
is this
chicken. 'cause I
before
know
or
you have a
after
lot of
you're
chicken.
cooking? Is this chicken breast?
This
Or is
is
this like-
this is post cooked. So like even maybe you just take it out in an air fryer, you cook it like full breast like this. You put it on a plate, or a cutting board, let it cool down for a couple seconds.
So
then
this is
boom,
after
just
you
pop it.
cooked it.
Yeah.
Do you not use a fork?
Yeah, but then you gotta have a knife.
So this is just taken away. Why don't you just do it with a steak?
Imagine you could do it
and
for any
beef?
meat. Yeah. Imagine you have a steak. You
What's
know
wrong
when you
with
go to a
just
restaurant?
eating?
Nothing's wrong with eating, but imagine if you're in a hurry and you could just, I don't want to cut this. I don't want to get a knife dirty. You pull this
Oh
out,
my
boom,
God.
pop it.
Then you got to clean that thing, and that would take extra effort.
Self-cleaning.
Oh my. All right. Okay.
Any other brain busters? I could debunk them right now.
Yeah, you got me beat on this one. This
The
is
chicken chop.
Yeah,
Put it on next
I don't-
year's Christmas list.
this is quite the idea.
Well, honestly, we were recording the podcast. I remembered it was my business idea, and that was the first thing that came to my mind when I was eating that chicken. It's like, God, it'd be cool if I didn't have to cut this, because I was just stabbing it with a fork and just chewing off of it like a caveman.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You just don't want to do that if you go to like the king's house or anything.
The King's house. You talking
Yeah,
about
imagine-
Burger?
No,
Burger King.
like the king of England. Like if you got invited
Oh.
there. I think it's a queen now, but
You're not going to
Tomato,
pull out
tomato.
the chop.
I might. Hey, I got this cool new thing for you. What is Queen Elizabeth's last name? Is a real question.
Isn't it Elizabeth?
Elizabeth? What's
I
her
don't
first
know.
name? I don't know either. Do some research for us, guys. But yeah, that's all we got for reflections. Do them. They're good. They're fun. You can talk about them with your fellow podcast host if you guys have a podcast.
It says Elizabeth II. About Elizabeth II. That's all it says.
God, no
She doesn't
last
have a
name.
name.
She's like Cher.
Queen is her first name.
Yeah, it's like Ichiro.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm not
All right.
seeing any. All right.
Kyle, you got anything else? Fuck the Queen, man.
No, I don't.
All right, that's episode 68 of the Midnight Entrepreneur.
Elizabeth
if you have,
Alexandra Mary Windsor. There you go.
oh, that's what a loser name. That's episode 68 of the Midnight Entrepreneur. Wow, Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at thatmidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. And if you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of the Midnight Entrepreneur, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Style is a reflection of your attitude and your personality. Sean Ashmore.